Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. My name is Matt Bailey. I'm the National Ambassador for the Scotch Malt Whisky Society here in Australia, and we're live again tonight. It's not a big live because last night was the big live with Whisky Roundtable. That was so much fun, those guys. Just so good to sit down and chat with them, talk about whiskey, take the whiskey boxing challenge, if you like. Like I said, it was a boxing-themed evening with all these great people who talk whiskey and know the industry inside out. And so big shout out to Scott, Alex, and Andy last night for going on that ride. Now, tonight is all about the gathering bottling that I've mentioned on this is what we're talking about tonight. Big shout out to Mark Teague. Good to see you, mate. Hope you're well. And James Caden says that music light of my week. Hey, that's light of mine as well. I always like opening with a bit of music. Gives people a chance to actually get into live before I actually go live, which makes sense. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring up my slides here because I want to talk a little bit about cask number 26.147, So Many Colors in a Rainbow. Now, this is a bottling that is exclusive to Australia. Keep bumping my mic. New setup, in case you haven't noticed. This is a bottling that is exclusive to Australia, and it is a bottling that is also going to be on feature on September, and we have the whole cask, which is really exciting. Howdy to Mark Westmorland. Mark, you are a regular on this stream, and I love that you tune in each night. Big shout out to Mark from Wolfburn. Great distillery, great guy. Thank you, Mark. Great to have you on. Howdy, Rowan. Good to see you. Look, it's so good to see you all. Thanks for tuning in. Like I said, tonight's talking a little bit about Malt of the Month for September. So this is September Malt of the Month for our gathering Outturn. Let's crack on, shall we? You know what? Otherwise, I'll end up talking the whole night. When I talk about this distillery, when I talk about Distillery 26, which, you know, I can tell you, it's a distillery. Look, it's Klein-Leach Distillery. I know I'm not going to say the codes normally, but it's really hard to focus on just one distillery if we're just not going to even mention the name of it. So look, when I talk about this distillery, Distillery 26, there's one flavor element that I often revert back to. There's one flavor, not one, there's four in fact. So there they are on the screen. There's four flavors that I'm often getting out of this distillery. I get honeycomb and honeycomb notes. I get freshly snuffed candle note. I get waxy brown jackets, and I get tropical fruits. This release doesn't deviate from that too much, actually. So this is 26.147. I'm going to pour a glass of this and enjoy this whilst I tell you a bit more about this distillery, some of the history. Just a wee dram of that. Now I'm going to put, you know what? This bottle's more than half gone because it was shared a little bit around at Archie Rose on the Friday night, I think. It was for our pop-up bar with Archie Rose. Great team there. It was shared around at Roundtable last night, and it was shared around somewhere else as well. Anyway, that's the whole idea behind whiskey, is sharing it with friends, sharing it with people who will appreciate it, who get to experience these whiskeys and taste them along with the journey with us. So when I'm nosing and tasting this whiskey from Distillery 26, I do get a lot of those tropical fruits. I get, even like it says on the label, I get like washed lemons, orange marmalade, pink cherry blossom, red berry squash, sarsaparilla. It's a really vibrant, lovely, sweet, fruity, and mellow profile whiskey. So I'll go back to my screen here. I should have done that with the effect ready. So I grab that. I'll grab that screen back onto the show here. Ready? And I go. So this one doesn't really have too much of the snuffed candle. So sometimes you do get an element of peat in some of these distillery offerings. Very rarely, because then people just start calling it Klein-Leach 2 or Brora. But in this case, I do often get these tropical fruits, and I get these waxy jackets, and I get these honeycomb notes. Now, that's one of the things I love about this distillery is the waxy jacket. Now, I'm going to talk a bit more about the waxy note in a moment, because where does that note come from? That's one of the things I want to delve into tonight a little bit. But I'll just bring this up a little bit closer. This man here. Now, you know what? This guy has a huge part to play. He is the Duke of Sutherland of the early 1800s. There he is in all his glory. Now, you know, fine-looking chap, really, but a bit of a monster from what I heard, all things told. A lot of the successes of this distillery come from the tragedy of the Highland clearances. And if you want to research more into high-end clearances, I implore you to. It's great. However, a lot of his it was forcing people out of their farms, forcing people off their land, because there was more profit to be made out of the land being used in other ways. And he that's where Kleinlich started. He also started, I think, a flour mill. He started a sheep farm. There's a whole bunch of things that he started, which there's a tile works. Anyway, everything that he made, all the profits from these businesses also went straight into his pockets. So, okay. I heard a story about the origin of the waxy note. Keen to hear if it's true. James, I'm going to get into that in a moment. Lovely oily sweetness, is Mark Warland. Yes, it is. There is a lovely oily sweetness to it. It's a very northerly distillery, up there with Wolfburn and Pulteney. I mistakenly missed Wolfburn off that list on our little article online, which was rectified at 11:25 p.m. last night. That does happen. Delicious jackets, yeah, and jackets are where it's at. I know we're all fan of a good jacket. Look, this is if I'm to quote Scott Fitzsimons from Roundtable last night after he tasted this, his wording was, "This is bloody delicious," and I'm inclined to agree. I haven't added any water, and at 57.7%, I don't know that it needs too much. Anyway, let me get back to old Duke here. So the Duke founded the distillery in a sense. Was responsible for the distillery existence, I should say, in 1819. Now, like I say, its cult status came about from tragic circumstance of the clearances, and that's what happens. Now, there are a few defining characteristics of this distillery's style: clear worts, long-ish ferment, 55-hour ferment. That's not too long. There are a lot of distilleries that go longer these days, but it's a longish, and maximizing and a distillation run that maximizes copper conversation. Sorry, I should say. So one of the couple of unique things about Kleinlich, however, like if you look at the technicalities of their distillery, there's not too much that sets it apart from other distilleries on paper. But the two things I want to make note of here: this is a distillery where their spirit stills are actually larger than their wash stills. Now, that is not unique to Kleinlich, but it is unusual. It's certainly unusual. So it's not unique to them, but it is an unusual thing. Well, Annalise, that's a good point. Yeah, where else would their profits have gone? Exactly. I mean, it's not like they went into the community that he completely disheveled, but it did. They went somewhere, which is they went into his pocket. Fair enough. I could sleep that long. 55 hours. Yeah, I know you. I don't know how you feel sometimes. So, yes, their spirit stills are larger than their wash stills. Now, in a traditional distillery setup, that is unusual. Even by New World whiskey distillery setups, that's unusual. But that would contribute one part of what that does is that what that creates is quite a fruity spirit. And then there's it's what was I going to say? Then there's the story of the gunk. Now, James, this might answer your question. Where does it get that waxy character from? Now, okay, so the faints receiver and collects precipitation of oils, if you like. It naturally occurs, and it happens at every distillery. And normally these are cleaned out because you clean the faints receivers, you clean the distillery. These are cleaned out. As we heard from Lisa Truscott, a distiller at Archie Rose, is that being a distiller is sometimes being a glorified cleaner sometimes, because it means that there's a bit of fun distilling, but there's a lot of time cleaning. Now, cleaning the gunk out of things, cleaning that gunky residue out of the faints receiver is something that used to happen at every distillery. Kleinlich cleaned the gunk out and realized that the spirit changed entirely and it lost that waxy note that we love about this distillery. The receiver. Okay. Steve says his profits are going to SMWS pockets. I don't know how to answer that. If you enjoy SMWS, I hope that's a good thing. Look, so these, they took the gunk out, they cleaned them out, and they realized that waxy note had disappeared from the spirit entirely. So what they did was they put the gunk back in. They take it out for silent season when they're still cleaning the distillery, but it actually gets put back in. So they keep them a little bit dirty and a little bit waxy, if you like. So that the mature character retains its waxiness as a result. It's quite mouth coating, and it retains all of that. Like I said, snuffed candle, sometimes a little bit ozone-y kind of notes in some Clynelish. But if you taste a lot of whiskey, not a lot, if you do get the opportunity to taste single malts or blends from the 1950s, 1960s, a lot of them had that waxy character. A lot of them weren't cleaning and being as regimented in their process as they are today. So that's something that's that also changes over time. Evening to James Finnegan. Good to see you, mate. Hope you're well. So, old mate here. And speaking on topic of what we see around the world these days, this is a photograph of the statue of the Duke. There's been calls now for I think I can safely say decades for them to tear that down because he's being celebrated here when he was not really someone to be celebrated, because he was known for more of the bad than the good. But there's a giant statue of him, and just to give you some perspective here, you can see perhaps how small that person is standing at the base there. Who let the gunk out? Ooh, ooh, ooh. Do they keep the gunk in the staff fridge in between? That might explain the smell of the staff fridge, perhaps. I don't know. I'll never be able to get the kids to clean their rooms again. Not with comments like that, because the gunk adds character. You're never going to see a clean bedroom again. I'm sorry, Annalise, it's not going to happen. So he's celebrated today for perhaps the wrong reasons. He did create a lot of industry, but he also destroyed a lot of livelihoods, and that was just the way it went. So, what am I drinking? I don't talk too much about this unsavory character. There's one of the photographs of the distillery. I'll bring that up for you all to see. It looks like a distillery, lovely pagoda roof there. Pagoda chimney, I should say. Sorry. It's very, it looks quite old school, and it is quite old school. Like I say, 1819 was when it was founded, and obviously next door would be the where for Brora as well on site. It would be like Glen Grant 1, Glen Grant 2, Glen Grant Cappadonic versus Clynelish Brora. I won't go too much into that history tonight. That can be another one. There's a few characters in my house too. Gunk adds character. Maybe I should have called tonight's chat that. But and there's the still room, and you can see those faint receivers on the top. You can see what have we got over here. So yeah, we've got the Clynelish stills. Quite beautiful. Looking very clean there, actually. Photo opportunity, perhaps. And there's the washbacks. Beautiful. Big wooden washbacks. Now, I still think they're the same washbacks today, but that photo was taken a little while ago. I didn't actually get a chance to get into Clynelish Distillery. It was closed the day I was there, which was a real shame, but I do hope to get over to Scotland again and actually jump into that distillery and explore it and have a chat with the team there, which would be great. But what we're exploring tonight is the So Many Colors in a Rainbow release, which I've very badly cropped to that frame. You can thank me later. This is a Gathering release. Now, this release is for Gathering 2020. Let me just go rewind a bit about what that means. So Gathering last year was the first time we held the full global gathering. Members from all around the world got together, a chance for us to come together in small and large format. Andrew's written more about the origins of the gathering in September Outturn. Well worth a read. There's always great stuff to read in Outturn, actually. As we mentioned, there's the Deciphering the Hashtag by Alex Moores. There's my Spinal Tap list of 11 things about the society you may not have known. And the 12th thing would have been, how good is Outturn? Honestly, just like the reading, like being able to read so much great content in an Outturn, I always enjoy. And then there's Andrew's article on nostalgia. It's a thing of the past. That's really quite good. Can you taste the gunk on the tour? No, you can't. I know that much. Well, I mean, does this mean that clones technically is an extra ingredient? Water, malted barley, yeast, cask, extract, and gunk. Yeah, I mean, it is. It's an ingredient that shapes the spirit. It's not part of the ingredient list, however. They don't add gunk to the spirit. It's just that it creates a it's part of that distiller's character, and if you remove it, it changes the spirit character. That's even I've heard distillers say in Scotland and that they even a dent, even a small like 20-cent sized piece dent in a still will drastically change the character of a spirit. Drastically might be a bit of an overreach, but it will change the character of a spirit, and so that's really exciting. Great to have a great gathering in. Going to have a great gathering in Brisbane. Yes, Brisbane's got a gathering. I'll bring up the events page in a moment. And hashtag how good is Outturn? That should have been in the hashtag list. It's immediately vibrant and immediately just like delightful on the nose, like pink fairy floss, washed lemons, like that's like sort of that lemon juice, washed lemon juice. Delightful on the palate. Seriously fantastic. Like I get that waxy paper, brown waxy jacket note. I get tropical fruits. I get like mango slushy. Oh, very enjoyable stuff. Now this one is limit 2 per member on Outturn, which is this Friday. And I'll just show you. He's just a little more on the front label here for you to have a look at. It is a global gathering release. It's stamped as such on the front label. So it is a special release. It's 199 bottles to the cask, which we got the whole cask. I think one bottle got left behind in Scotland. And then there we go. Printed next to the flavor profile strip of sweet, fruity, and mellow is exclusive to Australia. This is entirely ours. What do you wash lemon juice with? Oh, well, you know. Thank you, James. I really appreciate hearing that. Can I just say this Outturn just magnificent? James, I really appreciate those comments. It means a lot because it's something that is a joint effort of Susie, myself, and Andrew putting together each month. And of course, our designer, Tam, who helps out with the layout and design of each issue, which has been great. Ethanol. What do you wash lemon juice with? Ethanol, yeah. So it is, like I say, it's an exclusive to Australia. It's a delightfully enjoyable. It's exactly the kind of cask we'd want for a gathering release, actually, because the whole idea behind a gathering and sharing spirits and good experiences is the kind of whiskey where you want to be able to open it up, share it around, and everyone goes, wow, I actually really enjoy that. Rather than, you know, some whiskeys, I will be honest, some whiskeys we release are very technical. Some of them are, I would argue they are, you know, you'd be well served to have quite a strong, you know, a strong experience in whiskey to fully appreciate. This is something that that myself, as someone who appreciates a lot of cask strength whiskeys, and someone who is first into whiskey, would both get around. Oh, pack it in salt for preserves, lemons. Yeah, there is a ever so slight salinity to this one, ever so slight. But it's the tropical mango juice and orange marmalade. To quote Andrew, works with water. This one works with water, very much so. Rob Scott, you genius. I think you're right. What did he say? Whiskey. It's called a sour. Yeah, very true. So I'll show you that front label so you can get a nice, clear look at it. Exclusive to Australia. It's a second fill ex-bourbon barrel. 19th of September 2011. It's a Highland whiskey, of course. Global gathering and diluted. So tasty was the last tasting note on that front label there. Exclusive to Australia and in the sweet, fruity, and mellow. A good quaff in a quake, I'm sure. Mark, that's the one. Yes, you know what? If you've got a quake at home, and quakes are the I don't have an image on the screen to show you, but if you've got a quake, this is the kind of whiskey to quaff in a quake. And that's the idea of the passing of the quake of the gathering. But I was going to say, again, check out Andrew's article in our Outturn about passing it around, the sharing of whiskey, the sharing of good times. Passing a Quake around between strangers during COVID times might be a bit irresponsible, but you get the idea. The message is there. A COVID-safe Quake. That's exactly what I was thinking. A Quake that maybe gets a hand sanitizer dip between each use. That was all I wanted to go through tonight. Was just a quick taste of this whiskey. What's coming up in our September Outturn? I'm going to try and talk a little bit about each. Some of the key releases in Outturn leading up to this Friday's release. So it's Friday, the 4th September, midday. This release is a limit of 2 per member, which is pretty generous, considering we have thousands of members and we've only got 200 of these bottles or so. 198 or now 197. But a friendship cup. Yeah, exactly. That's a good word for it. It is. It's a friendship cup. It's something that is passed around and friends are created through great whiskey experiences. And Mark, you know very well how to do that, and it's great to see you here. And it's just like this is something I'm really glad that we're able to share this around. There is one other gathering bottling that is not exclusive to Australia, but we've got a nice healthy allocation of the 7.244, which I think is called Witchcraft, which is a deep rich and dried fruits from Distillery 7. So that's probably going to be pretty fast moving. I'll tell you now. Everyone put a 12 p.m. meeting in your calendars now for Friday. Yes, really good point. Like I say, Outturn goes pretty quick at the moment, and that's great. I'm glad to see members enjoying so many things that we're doing, and including these live streams, including the content we create, including the experiences online, the tasting sets, and the full gathering tasting set that's going to be, which is in Outturn as well. And that's $99. Please join in on that. That's going to be great. We're tasting through 5 gathering casks in that gathering set that is on the online. So I'll tease more about that in the next next few days. Like I said, we've still got a few days before now in Outturn. Always appreciate you tuning in. Thank you so much. I will see you all again tomorrow night. In the meantime, Slàinte mhath. Enjoy whiskey. Enjoy being safe. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. And have a great night. And I will catch you all. I'll catch you all tomorrow night. Slàinte mhath.